New York Times best-selling author Sarah Penner writes immersive and adventurous novels that combine the occult and magic with strong feminist themes. In all of her books, Sarah imagines what strong women in history might have been up to in different circumstances. Her latest release is called The Amalfi Curse, and Sarah Penner, lucky for us, joins us today for Author's Note. Welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so The Amalfi Curse is similar to the previous novels that you've written, especially I read The Lost Apothecary, and I can feel a lot of the similar kind of things where you've got something going on in the past and something going on in the present. What appeals to you about kind of mixing the two time periods in one novel?
Yeah, that's right. So The Lost Apothecary, that's my debut. It came out in 2021, massive success, has sold more than 1 million copies worldwide, and readers seem to love that dual timeline tension. And what I particularly love doing and what I did in The Amalfi Curse is I basically present a secret in the historical narrative that the present day character has to then go and resolve and unbury quite literally in this story. So my present day character, she's a nautical archaeologist investigating a cluster of mysterious shipwrecks off the coast of Positano. And through that adventure, we learn all of these secrets that have been buried and lost for 200 years.
You're really like, to me, the new Dan Brown, because you really, when I read your books, I can tell you know your stuff, but it's not given to you in a textbook way. It's given to you kind of really in an exciting narrative. What's your research process to get to this?
Well, thank you. That's a huge compliment. For this book in particular, The Amalfi Curse, so much of this book is about shipwrecks and scuba diving. And my husband and I have actually been scuba divers for more than 10 years. So believe it or not, we've done a lot of wreck diving in the Florida Keys. We live here in Florida. I also got 2 online certifications in nautical archaeology. So I learned a lot about shipwreck excavation. And then, of course, how can I write a book set in Positano without traveling there and sipping limoncello and enjoying all of the cuisine and the views? So the research for this book, I'd say, has been the most fun of my 3 different novels.
It sounds, I'm jealous. I'm straight up, I'll say it. I'm jealous. That's amazing. So you had an entirely different career, though, and I think what's really interesting about some of the things that you talk about is that Elizabeth Gilbert inspired your creative path, and I want you kind of to share what is the key to moving from one career, kind of like the finance career, to something that is totally different and maybe even creative. Like, what was the key to make that leap for you?
That's right. So I have a background 13 years in corporate finance, your traditional 8 to 5 in the office, but I always felt somewhat creatively unfulfilled. So I tried sewing, quilting, cooking, gardening, and eventually I just revisited one of my childhood interests, which was writing. I loved storytelling and journaling when I was younger. So I enrolled in an online writing class and I started waking up at 5 a.m. so that I could write before I had to go into my day job. The first book that I wrote was never agented and therefore never published. And then my debut, The Lost Apothecary, was a total. Even after that book came out and even after its success, I still didn't quit my day job until I sold my second book. But how did I make the leap? I would say I just followed my creative passion and pursuit. And I think so many people, especially women who are in the corporate workforce or they're raising children, they're trying to manage their lives and the lives of their family, we put our personal interests and passions aside. And I decided I wasn't going to do that. I get one chance at this. So the only way I could do that was waking up early. You have to make time somewhere. So I did the whole 5 a.m. thing, and after a couple of years, that dedication paid off.
That did pay off. Now, you're going to be in Toledo. We want to let everyone know in May, I think the 22nd there. And you're very generous with your story and also how you give advice to aspiring writers, maybe those other people that are doing that 5 a.m. thing. What's in store for your Toledo Library Authors event? What can we expect when we come?
So I will go into much more detail about my journey from the creative workforce into writing. And so many people, I think it's on their bucket list to write a book, whether it's a memoir or a novel. And I love talking to readers and inspiring. And it doesn't have to be even about writing. Maybe someone wants to start painting or learn a new language or learn to play the piano. The reality is, as humans, the right sides of our brain, they need to express that creative output. And so I love meeting with readers and helping coach and guide them and inspire them to not just worry about work and family and to put ourselves first sometimes. And so that's what I'll definitely be going into my May 22nd event in Toledo to talk to readers about.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You need more information, get the tickets. You can either go to her website, sarahpenner.com, or the Toledo Library's website as well to have a great speech with Sarah. Thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. Good luck on the book.
Thanks.
All right, stick around after the break. We're making sure our house is ready for spring with the team from Integrity Home Exteriors.